The United States and China have agreed to a truce in their trade war. This significant development brings a pause to months of escalating tariffs. Both sides imposed heavy taxes on each other's goods, causing uncertainty in the global economy. The truce is a sign that both countries are willing to negotiate. The trade war had begun to impact businesses and consumers, raising prices and disrupting supply chains. The truce provides some relief and a window for negotiation. It remains to be seen if a lasting agreement can be reached. The heart of the deal is a reduction in tariffs. The United States had imposed a 25% tariff on $250 billion worth of Chinese goods. These tariffs will now be reduced to 10%. China will also reduce tariffs on American goods. China had placed tariffs on $110 billion worth of American products. However, there are some exceptions to the tariff reductions. The United States will keep its 25% tariffs on $50 billion worth of Chinese goods related to technology. This is a key point of contention between the two countries. The United States wants to protect its intellectual property and accuses China of unfair trade practices. The tariff truce is a political win for President Trump. He can claim that his tough stance on China is working. The stock market reacted positively to the news, which Trump can point to as a sign of economic strength. He can argue that he is protecting American jobs and businesses. However, critics argue that the trade war was hurting the American economy. They point to the rising costs for businesses and consumers. They also argue that the tariffs were harming American farmers. The truce may quiet some of these criticisms, but it remains to be seen if a lasting deal can be reached. For China, the truce provides some breathing room for its economy. The trade war was starting to bite, slowing down growth and hurting businesses. The truce gives China time to adjust and diversify its economy. It can look for alternative markets for its goods. However, the truce also shows that China is willing to negotiate under pressure. This could embolden the United States to take a tougher stance in the future. China will need to balance its desire for economic stability with its long-term strategic goals. Section 5. Immediate economic reactions. The initial reaction from the markets was positive. Stock markets around the world rallied on the news. Investors were relieved that a full-blown trade war was averted. The price of oil also rose, as did the value of the Chinese yuan. The truce also led to a decrease in volatility in the markets. The uncertainty surrounding the trade war had caused wild swings in stock prices. The truce brought a sense of calm, at least for the time being. Section 6. The long-term economic outlook. While the short-term economic impact of the truce is positive, the long-term outlook is less certain. The truce does not address the underlying issues in the US-China trade relationship. These include intellectual property theft, forced technology transfer, and China's industrial subsidies. If these issues are not addressed, the trade war could easily flare up again. A lasting trade deal will require both sides to make significant concessions. It remains to be seen if they are willing to do so. Section 7. Trump's Saudi Arabia trip and other geopolitical events. The tariff truce comes at a time of heightened geopolitical tensions. President Trump is currently on a trip to Saudi Arabia. This is his first major international trip of his second term. He is seeking to strengthen ties with U.S. allies in the Middle East. The Trump administration has also been active on other fronts. The president recently announced plans to withdraw U.S. troops from Syria. He has also imposed tariffs on steel and aluminum imports from Canada, Mexico, and the European Union. Section 8. The future of U.S.-China relations. The tariff truce is a positive step, but it is just a first step. The U.S. and China have a complex relationship. It is marked by both cooperation and competition. The two countries are economic powerhouses. They are also strategic rivals. The future of their relationship will depend on a number of factors. These include the domestic political situations in both countries, the global economic outlook, and the strategic competition between the two countries. Section 9. Conclusion. A fragile truce in a complex world. The US-China trade truce is a welcome development. It provides some much-needed relief for the global economy. However, it is important to remember that the truce is fragile. The underlying issues in the US-China trade relationship have not been resolved. The coming months will be crucial. The two sides will need to engage in tough negotiations. They will need to find a way to address their differences. The world is watching to see if a lasting trade deal can be reached.